Of all the Polish recipes that I love, my very favorite is pierogi, especially when my mother makes them, Martha Senior. And I have, to the amazement of my family, consumed up to 20 or a little more of these delectable dumplings at one sitting. And I'm especially happy that she's here today to make her potato pierogi. Hi, Mom.
Hi,
I'm
Martha.
glad you're visiting us yet again. My mother really does use the old-fashioned methods in her cooking. So the potatoes are not put into a electric mixer to mash. She mashes them by hand and insists that I do too. So what do we have here? How many potatoes?
About 5 pounds.
5 pounds of what kind of potatoes?
Well, I use baking potatoes because they tend to be drier than the regular Long Island or Maine potatoes.
Okay.
And,
So like an Idaho or a russet potato?
Right.
Okay, so 5 pounds of potato, and they're peeled and boiled, first of all, until they're fork tender, right?
Mm-hmm. Just like for mashed potatoes, except we don't put any liquid into these.
Okay, so I'm going to mash with the old-fashioned potato masher.
And I'll be making the dough. I start with an egg, whisk it. All right, now into this egg, I usually put in a couple spoons of sour cream to keep the dough tender.
So 2 heaping tablespoons.
We mix the sour cream into the egg. Now, in order to keep this dough tender, I use milk.
How much?
A cup of milk. Depends on how much filling you have. And a cup of water. I found out through trial and error that milk would make a tenderer dough. Now I'll add flour. I still keep this in a bowl. I don't usually measure flour because it goes according to the way it feels in your hands. You have to make a dough that is the consistency of noodle dough, and it isn't sticky.
Now I'm going to add a little bit of cream cheese to the potato so it melts while they're still hot, okay? Like half?
Oh, yeah.
More than half?
No, not half.
And any butter?
Melted butter.
Okay. About how much?
Oh, like 1 stick, which is,
Oh, yeah, it's a quarter of this.
well, that's, I think, maybe enough.
And now today, Mom has brought cheddar cheese to add to the filling. When I was growing up, it was cream cheese and butter and salt and pepper, and nothing else. So now we're having our Nouvelle pierogies. Do you want me to add some cheddar?
Yeah, a little bit grated cheddar for a little flavor. Now I'm going to incorporate just enough flour to make a dough that is not too sticky in consistency. Otherwise, it won't roll out very well. So you keep adding a little flour to get it elastic, and you begin kneading. And keep scraping any dough that sticks to the surface. And you don't add too much flour, otherwise you get a tough dough. I have to put this in a bowl, lightly floured, cover it with saran so it doesn't dry, while we get the filling prepared.
Oh, okay. So we have some dough that you've already made. Here's that other batch. Do you want to turn this out and just put the dough back in here?
I think it'd be a good idea.
Okay.
Now we sprinkle flour over your board.
Oh, see how beautifully it rolls out. It's elastic, but not too elastic,
Not too sticky.
and not too sticky. And we have certain tools now that are absolutely necessary for making the pierogi. You need a linen towel, and you need cornmeal.
Cornmeal, I found, is the best for the dough when it's resting. If you use just flour, the flour and the dough interact and it gets sticky.
And you also need these particular glasses. Do you remember these from childhood?
Oh, yeah.
These metal glasses.
Aluminum, because they have a good cutting edge.
That's why. And they're the right size. Mm-hmm. What made you decide that this was the...
Well, trial and error.
I love this part. Cutting out the dough. And it cuts beautifully.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, now show us this process.
I put a ball of potato filling on each circle, and then it doesn't take so long to encase the filling in the dough. You have to stretch the dough a little bit. You tuck the filling in, and you press.
And my mother's never fall apart. If you catch the potato in the dough, they are bound to fall apart. So you have to make sure you catch dough to dough, right?
All right.
We used to make these pierogis by the hundreds.
250, 300 pierogies.
I know. And we would sit around the kitchen table and we would see what kind of fancy edgings we could create.
There.
You see, she's done. I'm still struggling here. It looks real easy. It takes about
experience.
70 or so years of practice. And then you'll be as good a pierogi maker as my mom.
Thank you. Okay, the water is boiling, Martha, and just give it a little salt. This one we have to wait a couple minutes.
Okay, so that's boiling.
And now you can start putting pierogies in.
Keep it boiling rapidly.
Mm-hmm. Now this will come to a boil, and the pierogies will begin to float to the top, which signifies that they're getting done.
And I have melted butter. And I'm going to put it on this great big platter, which we're going to serve on. And the butter is primarily to keep the pierogis from sticking.
Now this water is beginning to boil, so we'll take them out.
Do those look good? They look pretty with that nice edging on it, too. Lovely.
I'm sure the taste will be enhanced.
Mom and I come from slightly different schools of presentation. Here we have a platter of the most delectable potato pierogi you will ever have. Well, Mom, how would you say, enjoy these pierogi? They're a gift from my kitchen, in Polish.
Mam nadzieję, że będziesz bardzo lubiała te pierogi. Smacznego.
And I won't repeat that, but enjoy.